Hello, welcome to Cooking with Cornbread. Now today we're going to do some sugar cookies. I've got my mixer here, and if you're in my house and I get this out, people are going to be happy. Now I've got Madeline helped me with the video today a little bit. Had Kinley, but she kept on wanting to stop it because she wanted to edit.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll see Charlie.
A little baby.
Say, hey, bud. All right. So, the reason I'm doing sugar cookies today is because I know my sister loves my sugar cookies. And
Yeah, I know that.
there's nothing special about them. If you follow my steps, I'm sure you can make some good sugar cookies too. I don't use high-end ingredients. This is great value unsalted butter. Always use unsalted. You'll get too salty of a butter or too salty of a cookie or too salty of anything if you use unsalted. The only time you want to use salted is if you put it in popcorn, man. It's a movie theater popcorn stuff. Look here, great value baking powder. Keeping it real with you, man. That's just what I use. So this is going to be a full video. This is my first full video. If it sucks, I'm sorry. If it's good, I'm sorry, or not. So let me take it from you and I'll show you what I've got going on. So let me get my cheat sheet. I have got 3 1/4 cups all-purpose flour. I've not sifted anything together. You can sift it together. It does help if you sift. A cup or 2 sticks. If you didn't know, 8 tablespoons equals a cup. 2 sticks of softened butter. I've got 2 eggs, and why are they in water that is or was hot water? We're bringing them up to room temp. Why would you bring eggs to room temp? Because we're going to put them in room temp butter. Why would you use room temp butter, room temp eggs? Because if this is warm and that's cold, this will coagulate. So we got 3 1/4 cups all-purpose flour, 1 cup butter, cup sugar, 2 eggs,
And and
this is my notes. All right. It's a ½ teaspoon of baking soda, ½ teaspoon baking powder, ½ teaspoon salt. Now, if you read most ingredients, the salt goes in with the dry. I never put my salt in dry. I put it in wet. The reasoning behind that in my head is that the salt will spread more evenly if you get it wet. So we're going to make this dough, and when we make this dough, we're going to use a KitchenAid stand mixer. You don't have to have KitchenAid. You don't have to have a stand mixer. If you only have a mixer, like a blender, that's pretty tough on your arms because this is a pretty thick dough. You could probably do better with your hands. It gets real messy though. And I'm using my little flex spatula deal
thing.
paddle, and my buddy Jeremy that I work with He does not like them. He says it explodes. But I'm going to show you a trick.
It does not.
Has it ever? It ain't never exploded, has it? No. You just put a little bit of flour in at a time, and you're good.
But he doesn't know how to do it. He doesn't know how to make
He needed a semi-pro tip from me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hand this back over to her. I think this is gonna be sideways for you. I don't know. And you're gonna have to get on your stool, bud.
Oh, you got it.
Let's get over here. You're gonna have to excuse me. I was not prepped for this. You got me?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm gonna film it down.
a cup of sugar.
Into your bowl.
Softened butter, 2 sticks or 1 cup. Most of the time when you cream butter with sugar, use the same amount, a cup. How many ounces to a cup? 8. How many tablespoons to a cup? 8. So 1 tablespoon equals an ounce.
36 minutes long.
Huh?
It's already 6 minutes.
36.
No, it's 6.
I'm 6 minutes in.
Yeah.
That's good. Excuse me, me and my camera lady was
Gee.
consulting.
Yeah.
I've forgotten the video, but we're going to turn this on. You're going to hear it work. And while this works, I'll get the other ingredients. I'm going to turn it up on high because we are going to cream this butter. It took me a long time to figure this out. There we go. I'll turn it up a little bit. I'm going to put, I got it on 4 right now. We'll put it back on 3 here in a second. I just want it on 4 so it gets away that the butter can come out of the paddle. We're going to let this go for a minute. Follow me. Ignore my messy kitchen with a messy kitchen. It's a happy kitchen. Happy kitchen is a happy house.
He's right there. That thing right there. Look at that.
So, vanilla. I forgot a half a teaspoon of vanilla. And you know what? I'm going to teach you something. Got me? My wife and I argue all the time because when I do these big things, and this ain't very big, this is easy, but I make a lot of a mess.
Yeah.
So I try to use the same measuring spoons because it's all going into the same bucket or mixer or whatever. Let me borrow this. So we're gonna get you. I'm letting this go to town. I'm gonna let this go to town for a little bit. I'm gonna put some air in this. That's like I had thing in like flushing in it. That's air. We're putting air in. This is the butter is changing color. This is gonna be light, and it's already there, but it's gonna get better. I promise. So I need to get going. I'm blabbering on. So we need a half a teaspoon of baking soda. Measuring it out. Bam. And again, you can sift this, and it does. Sifting does do some good things. You don't have to though. I'm pretty sure that what I sift with is probably got some beef fat in it. If you watched my last video, we clean dishes around here, but we're 2 working times. Half teaspoon baking powder in there. I'm gonna show you a trick here in a minute. Alright, again. So we're gonna do a half teaspoon of salt, but instead of my dry, I'm gonna go ahead and put that in my wet. Because I think that by putting it in the wet, it dissolves that salt. It helps it go throughout the dish, and you won't get a salt bomb in your mouth. And why are you using salt in cookie dough? Because, man, salt brings out flavor. All right, we got a half teaspoon vanilla. And I think I got this recipe on all recipes. Half teaspoon of vanilla, and that's I think they only use a half teaspoon of it in the cookie to help keep that cookie white. Because everybody wants a white sugar cookie. As far as there you go, good looking out, good camera woman. Everybody wants a white sugar cookie because that's the way the freaking bakery had them. That's why my sister likes them, because that's the way the bakery had them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we like them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get not a serving spoon. This is a soup spoon. You got a teaspoon, a soup spoon, a serving spoon. So a soup spoon, not a real big spoon, but a medium-sized spoon. And we're just gonna mix this together because we want to get the baking soda and baking powder, the leavening, incorporated. And by sifting this, I would have, if I would have sifted this, I would have put probably 2 cups of the flour in, then put my half teaspoon baking powder, half teaspoon baking soda in there, then put another cup of flour and another 1/4 cup of flour, and sifted it. And by sifting it, that does 2 things. That lightens your flour up, and it mixes the ingredients. Another little tip here is I learned this from Martha Stewart, watching her, is when you measure, don't dip that in. Don't dip your measuring spoon in, or measuring cup, whatever. Try to get all my flour back in because this is precise. So I had an uninterrupted pause, and I think I was telling you about how not to scoop your measuring spoons, and we're trying to keep all our flour and stuff in here because when you're baking it's precise, and I'm OCD about that. I don't think it's that precise. So if you want to get real precise, you need to weigh your stuff, and that's out in brown level, and I can't do that yet. Probably could, but don't want to. How about that? So Martha Stewart, again, boom, you spoon in, and don't be afraid of getting your freaking fingers dirty here when you spoon in, and you level off. And that's, if you obviously can't feel it in that video, or this video, but you run your fingers across that, and it's real light. So there we go again. We're lightening things up. We're not packing things in. We're lightening things up. That's a little secret on how to get everything light and fluffy. Now I've got my room temperature eggs. I've already put my vanilla in there and salt. It's mixed. So we're gonna grab a small bowl. And if I was thinking ahead, which I was thinking ahead, then I got all sidetracked because I got cameraman issues, or women or ladies or whatever. And I got my daughter taking videos of me over there. Come here, Madeline. She was my camera woman, and we got a text from somebody, and it paused the video. I'm new to all this stuff, so listen, I'm really down to earth and I'm trying hard here. What I know is that I don't have to try hard to make these cookies, because I made these cookies and made these cookies. This is my favorite, my most liked cookie. We're mixing the egg, by the way. You mix the egg a little bit to put it in one at a time. We got 2 eggs. We're gonna put 1 egg at a time in and mix it up, because everything needs to get mixed in. You want to do an egg, bud?
Yeah.
So I've got excellent sous chef in here. At this point, you don't have to worry about keeping it low. You want to keep it high, or not high, but you know, you can go third speed on it. Get everything mixed in. And by using that little spatula paddle mixer, it's going to scrape the sides for you. So I don't have to scrape the sides till I want to make dead sure that the flour and everything mixed in. So I've got to crack the egg for Madeline. She's going to mix it up. Madeline is couple number 2, Kimmy is couple number 1, and Charlie is couple number 3. And Charlie rarely gets the help. She's still too young. So we're going to go with it. So that's mixed up. Let me borrow that. We're back to the same color, and I'll show you how it turns color. I stop in between, because that's how you prevent making messes. And I'm OCD about getting everything mixed in. So you see, we've got the egg that's been mixed or whipped. And then I use a whisk. We use the damn fork. See how it's all yellow and white looking? Here in a minute, it's going to turn back to white cookie. I'll let you look at this process. And this line is going to be a long video. I did a couple of tips. I'm including tips in this one. What I know, what I like to do, what I don't work. See now, like I told you before, this is almost looking like cooling it. I hate cooling it. I never use cooling it. But it's getting fluffy, man. I can tell because you can see it jiggling in there, man. I'm starting to get, I'm doing my happy dance. Here comes my wife, and that's my Ford I built the other day during the coach game. Alright, so we're going to stop this. Turn it back over to my camera woman. Pardon my hand. So, I always do this with my wet dry. Making cakes, making cookies. I've made this 100 times before. I don't know if it's 100, but I'm familiar with this. Hello, Charlie.
She's saying Daddy here. Handing it to you.
Huh?
She's giving it to you, saying Daddy here.
I don't need this because we already got our sugar in. And this is another good reason why I always have, I honestly get a lot of my recipes online. And if this one I've never, the only thing I've done different on this is the recipe I'm using has a buttercream on it. It's called a buttercream, but it uses shortening. But I don't use this recipe. I got a different recipe for my frosting. But I've never altered this. So I double check my ingredients before I go together. I've got a cup of butter, or 2 sticks, a cup of sugar in there, 2 eggs we just put in, a teaspoon of vanilla, and If you look at this list, I've got salt all the way down here, but I know I've already put the salt in. That's just that's the way the recipe online presented it. If I like you well enough, I'll give you the recipe, and I'll give you my tips too. Yeah. But more than likely, if you ask my mama or anybody that I know for the recipe, I'm gonna tell you hit the cooking with cornbread. I'm cornbread. I don't cook with cornbread. I am cornbread, and you're cooking with me, right? So cornbread's an old nickname for me. We got 3 1/4 all-purpose flour, half teaspoon baking powder, half teaspoon baking soda in there. So we're going to turn our mixer on slow. There's all kinds of air in this butter. It's real light, fluffy. It turned colors. It's kind of back to yellow again because of all the egg yolks and whatnot we put in there. So I'm OCD again. I'm dodging my paddle because I want all the flour in the bottom and not on top of the paddle. And it's going to get on there. Don't worry about that. And you can add as much or as little as you like, but if you spoon it in, and Jeremy, if you're watching, spoon it in. The paddle is your friend. Don't put the whole bowl in there at one time, or you'll get what I got when I opened some cocoa powder once with my finger and it went poof. And my daughter Kimmy, who is recording for me, got a good laugh. But you spoon it in, a little at a time, but as quickly as I can. I'm spilling some, so I usually keep my bowl over top and then talking to you. I'm not used to talking to you while I do this. You're going to hear this blender whine. That's why it ain't blender, it's a mixer. Whatever, you know. But you're going to hear it whine, and that's why it's important to have a good one, you know. And KitchenAid is a Cadillac. I did not buy this. My dad bought this for me for Christmas a couple of years ago, and that's when I came up with the idea of, hello, welcome to Cooking with Cornbread. I sent the video to my sister and my brother. My sister has invited me to her house to film a few of these, and she's going to help me with my filming woes, so to speak. Now I've only got a little bit left in here now. You can hear this thing really working, and now you don't have to worry about it blowing up in your face. It won't go everywhere. See, there's my OCD in me. I see I've got a little bit of egg left, but I won't put it in there. It'll be alright. This ain't baking the science, and it kind of is. Now, so stick to your recipes. But, I mean, I come from the construction world, and it's plum. It's plum. It ain't, as long as it ain't plum. Inch is an inch, and an inch and a 16th, an inch and a 16th. So I'm going to turn this up a little bit because a lot of it's getting around my paddle, and it's all mixed, incorporated, so to speak. I'm going to turn it up. And we're going to stop. Now, I'm going to get my... let's use this one. These are Reed Drummond's Pioneer Woman's, and my wife got a set 2 years ago, the same year I got my mixer, and a set last year. These are very nice, they're very solid. You get what you pay for. See, I got flour on top. I always just kind of mix it off. I'm going to mix this one more time. I turned it up on high to spread everything out, and my mixer is no longer clogged. and we're going to give it one mix by hand just to make sure everything's off the bottom. And that, I can tell you right now, that is very, very light. Because I've done this recipe a lot, and it always turns out great, but you can end up with a dense cookie, and sometimes dense cookies are good though. And like I said, if you just put love in it, it really don't matter. So we put that down our cutting board, bring this back up, make sure everything's in there. We're going to mix it one more time. It's just like tossing a salad or whatever. We're just making sure everything's just mixed up. And it's good. And there's enough butter in this that usually it falls off of my paddle, and it did. And you know, this recipe, most of my baking recipes are not for like a diet, or oh no, you could use oil instead. Yeah, you could, but guess what, man? It's not the way they did it back in the day in France. You could, but we're eating freaking sugar, so it don't matter. There's like a ton of carbs in here because we got 3 1/4 cups flour, a cup of sugar, and a freaking cup of butter, and another cup of fat going on top of the cookies, and 4 cups of sugar going on top of them. Some more salt. I'm supposed to watch my salt. I'm really bad at that because I love salt. Matter of fact, I quit watching my salt. But this is how I make my sugar cookies. So I'm gonna leave that paddle on my cutting board because my daughters like to eat the dough. Yep, there's raw eggs in that. Raw eggs. Rocky Balboa ate them. Look at him, man. He won the championship for Apollo Creed. So I'm gonna mix it one more time, just to OCD me. And then I'm not going to make an even layer in my bowl. I'm kind of making a bowl inside my bowl. So this is gonna cool this down. You can't handle this dough right now, y'all. I'm gonna roll this out here in a little bit. You can't handle this dough right now. The recipe says to chill it in the fridge for 2 hours. I got pressed on time once when I made this, and just put it, spread this out like this. And if you look at the bowl, so I've got a fairly even layer around this thing, and I'm gonna pop it in my freezer. I usually go for an hour, but by doing this, you can do a little less. If you go too long, it's like frozen, so it's real hard to roll out. You're gonna have to roll this out in a 1/4 inch thick or so. I'll show you something, and I'll show you something that I don't have that I wish I had. I seen it and should have got it here in a little bit. But for now, we're going to freeze this, and my daughter's going to hopefully. We're not going to freeze it. We're going to chill it, because you got to get it to where you can handle it and roll it. Because if you roll it, it just gets messy if it's too warm. It has to be cool. And the reason you cool it is, one, you can handle it, and two, if you don't cool it, when you put it in the oven, it'll all spread out because of all the butter that's in it. Learned all this on Food Network. Paid attention. So I'll be back here in a little bit when this is cool, and we'll roll it out, and we'll get going then. Check you later. Okay, so our dough has chilled. I have a Flowered cutting board. Cutting board. You know, inside joke with my family. Off TikTok, I love that dude. I can't think of his name, and if I could, I'd put it on here because he deserves it. It's funny. So we got a flower cutting board, 3-inch cookie cutter, and a pile of flour to dunk it in, and we're going to use that flour to reflour our surface to spread our dough out. This stuff is probably went too much time in the freezer with it. We'll work it because I'm strong, but I'll work it out. I got 3 cookie sheets. These aren't the big ones. Do not know what happened in my big ones. I've got little girls that likes to experiment with crap. So parchment paper. That's your best friend. You don't have parchment paper, you can get a non-stick aluminum foil. If you can't get non-stick aluminum foil, you can put some aluminum foil on. I've done this. Trust me, you can do it. Put a regular aluminum foil down, a little either butter or vegetable oil down, and just kind of spread it out with a paper towel. Worked fine. Excuse me, I had to spit. And I spit in my sink. Yeah, I did. It'll wash. So, get down in my handy dandy drawer here. And old school rolling pin. This is a smaller one. It suits me well because I've got like this surface to work with. Now, my sister has reached out to me, want me to come do some at her house. They're going to teach me about filming or help me with filming. And I know that she has a marble countertop, so you don't have to worry about all this mess. You can just do whatever you want on that. I think marble may dull your knife a little quicker, but I wouldn't cut on top of it. I'd be afraid of. I'd just use cutting boards. But I would not be afraid to go to her house, and that might be what she wants to do. Because she loves these cookies. Just throw some damn, excuse me, some flour out and roll out some cookie dough, sugar cookie dough, because she loves them. And I'd say she wants to give them to her friends. So we might do that. I don't know. Whatever she wants to do. She wants to make a chicken. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get me a ball. Because the good thing about this is it's thin. So as quick as it freezes, it tends to thaw as quick. I've got my oven preheated to 400 degrees. And you'll learn with this dough, it's like you can leave it out if it's hard like this. And it'll soften. You don't want it to get too soft, which is why we put it in to begin with, the freezer. Spit again. I really need me something to spit in, but don't have it. Yeah, there. Don't tell my wife I did that.
I'll tell her.
So, I know dipping's gross, whatever. So we're getting us a ball. I don't know how big a ball we need. Sometimes I get too much out, sometimes I get too little. But I work with the too little. If I got too much, I just put it back in my bowl here. And we get a ball. Get a ball, and what I like to do is make it flat. Kind of like you see them do pizza on the TV or whatever. And it's gonna crack. That's why if it's cool, it'll crack worse, and it'll separate. But we're warming it up with your hand temp, your body temp. We'll warm it up, and you can feel it getting. I'm feeling it getting sticky, and I don't like how little flour I've got because it'll stick and it'll. I end up having to scrape it off. So I like this thickness here to start out with, and I like how I'm feeling it. You'll get to where you know how to feel it, and don't worry. We don't. I sprinkle flour on that side, and I'm going to shake the excess off and flip it over. It just helps keep from sticking. But we don't live in a perfect world, and I'm by far perfect. Trust me. A lot of trial and error has went into what I do and what I am doing here on this channel. Although I only have like 4 videos so far. But I have done this a lot. So I get it about half as far as what I want to go. I spread my flour out again and I flip it over. And I got a lot of flour on that surface. Sprinkle a little more on this surface. And we rub our rolling pin with flour again. We're going to take it on out. Now, I used to go too thin with it because I wanted like 80 cookies. Excuse me again, I had to spit. I know dipping is gross, but that's what I do. I don't care. And then we're going to start cutting. I'm hoping I get 6 out of this. Don't know if I will. If I don't, I'll refold it, re-roll it. And I'm not going to. I got 5. These aren't going to rise very much. But that is the recipe I use says a quarter, but I go 1/8. And I'm not going to get to the frosting tonight. And I'm only going to show you the first batch because honestly it takes a long time to do this with video I'm finding, and I'm getting tired. I will finish these cookies tonight. I don't let my dough sit. I'm going to show you what I do with them once I get done. See, this is starting to get soft already, but I'm going to show you what I do with them. And the softer it gets, the more flour you want to use. And this is not like biscuits. Certainly any dough you use, you can make it real hard, but this won't get hard unless you're really trying. I only need 1 more cookie out of this, but I'm going to get more because I got 3. I like to get 3 pans ready to bake. But I'm going to take you through the baking of 1 sheet and cooling of 1 sheet. There's my 6. And you need this is a biscuit cutter, a 3-inch biscuit cutter. Before I got this, my daughter who's filming here thought it was cool that my granny used to cut biscuits with a coffee mug. And that's what I used when I first started doing this recipe and did not have a cookie cutter. So we're going to get that extra one out of that. And that's as far as I'm going to take this dough. I'm going to still use this dough. I'm going to put it back in my bowl. That's going to get mixed in with some of the rest of it. And I'm going to get me another ball. And this is already starting to loosen up, like I told you. It's not near as hard to get out, so I won't have to work it as much. The reason why I worked it was honestly to loosen it up and to warm it up. It went a little too far as the cooling, but I'm pretty tough, so it didn't matter to me. I can make it work. Used to making it work. Sometimes it's not easy to make these. I'm used to it, like I say. Again, I'm putting flour on it. Now I've seen where I've never done it, and sometimes I want to. You can use instead of flour. See, flour is gonna you by rolling this out, you're putting more flour in the dough essentially. So instead of flour, you can use powdered sugar as your, sprinkle. Don't have to. I know there's raw flour on that. It'll cook out. Never taste it. Watch your foot. I never used powdered sugar for it. But it makes sense to me to use it because instead of incorporating this is a raw product here. It has no flavor. Matter of fact, it's take a pinch of flour and put it in your mouth, which we take raw flour and put it in our mouth all the time, to be honest with you, when we make fried chicken. But that flour has salt in it, and you just want to check your salt content. This has no salt in it, and I didn't put sugar in it, so it makes sense to use a powdered sugar for it, but never done it. Want to try it. I can see where that would work or help. I'm making these cookies fairly thick. I'm not going to get as many out of it. I think this recipe really is designed for 24 cookies. I usually get 30 to 32. And I can feel some of that older dough
Almost done.
mixing in. See, this is why I want to get 3 pans ready, because I can kind of relax. After the first is done, I can feel how that other dough is in there. And obviously this is a whole lot easier. Excuse me. Gotta spit again. Without got a little bit of newfound respect for the Food Network stars and all these dudes I've watched on YouTube. Cause that's how I learned how to do all this stuff, man. Anything that interests me, I follow in great detail. Like, not only do I like this, I really like restoration videos. Like, watch videos of how they restore knives and. I like to watch camping videos or bushcraft videos. I know I'm going on here, but I'm just cutting again 6 rounds. And can you come over to this one? So that's split apart. So what I do is kind of fold it together, and it's imperfect. I smush it together. The icing will hold that, and it'll be fine. The rest of them are fine. This isn't a perfect world. I'm not perfect. Only one that was Jesus. But I like watching bushcraft videos and building fires and stuff, and there's all kinds of different ideas on how to do everything. So while I'm doing this, I'll go ahead and tell you, I was on my way back from Orlando, so I had to virtually watch my preacher brother Joe Chambers. You can find him on Facebook, and church is East Union Missionary Baptist Church. He preached out of Matthew 2, and he preached about the birth of Christ. And the point I got out of it, and the point that stuck with me, was about the 3 wise men, and that's probably why, because I always heard about the 3 wise men, and they brought a present each for Jesus, frankincense, gold, and myrrh. Something fell. My list. It's alright. I don't need that. So I've got 6 and 18.
Are you almost done?
Yes, I'm almost done, girl.
It's been 20 minutes. You said it wouldn't take long.
Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'll finish my story about Brother Joe. He preached about the 3 wise men. The long story short was the Bible says that the wise men seek Jesus, and what he got out of that, and that stuck with me, was wise men seek Jesus. Take that as you will. I don't know if you trust in the Lord. I do. And if you'd like, you can find out how to contact me if you try hard enough, because I'll look at comments. I haven't got a comment. Like, subscribe, comment, whatever. This is a good instructional here. I just tried to do a little filler because I was trying to make 18 cookies. So I've got my oven preset at 400. This is going to go in for, recipe says 4 to 6. So I'm setting my little watch here because I got a cool watch. It's cute. Actually, I'm kind of a watch snob, so this ain't my favorite watch. I'm going to go for 5 minutes. Never ever cook the time. Never ever cook the time. I said that earlier in a video about meat. It is the same with pastries, cakes, whatever. Don't cook the time. Cook the temp, and I ain't gonna stick a temperature probe in these. I'll know when I see them when they're done. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to go to 5.5 minutes. But when I get done, I'll tell you how much time, because I'm not gonna make her sit here for 5 minutes and watch these get done, and I'm not gonna make you sit here and listen to me ramble on about the Bible, which you should. But so stick them in. Start your timer for 5. The bottom will get a little browner than the top, but I'll show you what I'm looking for in the next video. Can't say that because that's off TikTok. All right, love you, and I'm not going to get to the icing today because it's getting late, and I didn't anticipate how long this was going to take for me to explain y'all this. So 5 minutes, probably more like 5.5 at 400. See ya on the next one. Later.